everyone, this is Tom from Ecos Institute, checking in with everyone. Just reminding you that even though we're kind of on lockdown right now, it doesn't mean that we can't spark curiosity, build confidence, and deepen connection. So I'm out here on my neighborhood trails. Even on a normal day, probably wouldn't see anyone out here, but add the current conditions socially, plus the snow, and I'm just out here all by myself. And speaking of connections, looking at the news this morning, I heard that there's dolphins swimming in the canals of Venice, Italy, which apparently is not a usual thing, probably because of boat traffic, but because people are largely sticking to themselves, staying indoors. The animals are a little bit more out and about than they normally would. I read another story about someone in Wuhan, China, very industrial city, noticing that, whoa, there's birds here. And maybe the birds were there all along, but they were too distracted by human activities to actually notice them. So I think there's a lot of interesting things to observe and be grateful for today. Anyways, I just thought I'd let you in on my little nature walk here. One of my favorite things to do at Ecos is to take students on an evidence walk. I like to say that, it would be interesting if when we went out into the woods, it was like a Disney movie where all the wild animals are out and about frolicking, but realistically, wild animals practice social distancing, right? They see a human coming, a human typically being a predator animal for them, and they take off. But we can always see evidence or signs that the animals have been around. So I'm going to show you one thing right now. Let me flip my camera around. So super fun thing to do on a snowy day, and gosh, I hope you can see this because of the lighting and the snow. But a super fun thing to do on a snowy day is look for tracks, because the tracks are so easily left in the snow. So check this out. You've got two little paw marks right there and another two back there. Any guesses? Anyone who's live on the feed right now want to enter what animal you think that's from? Well, an interesting thing, oh wow, we got a lot of people saying hello. An interesting thing about tracks is you can observe the gait or the way the animal moves. In this case, this is a galloping gait. And I'll see if I can show you with my feet. Unfortunately, my camera friend decided to stay in because it's cold and wet out here, and I don't blame her. But in a galloping gait, you've got your front paws going in first, and then your rear paws, oh, do not feel good today, are going in front. So front paws land first, rear paws go forward. And one group of animals that has this kind of gait on a regular basis are rodents. And in this case, my guess is that this is a squirrel. So, just coming back to an idea from a previous video I did that, to be a scientist is a profession, but it's really just a state of mind, having that willingness to ask questions and pursue them. So I'll just kind of show you around some stuff I've been seeing in this general area and thinking. Starting with, we got this galloping rodent, probably a squirrel. Looks like it moved that way. Why did it do that? It looks like it went up into that white fir tree. What was going on when it was moving through here? Was it scared by the tracks left by one of the bipedal mammals, aka humans, that came through here before? Is there a food source up there? Is it shelter up there? I don't know. Here's another thing I'm super excited to show you. Uh-oh, my screen's getting wet. It's getting funky. So you got this ancient black oak tree here. I am not a dendrochronologist, someone who studies tree rings, but I'd have to guess this thing's got to be at least 150 years old when it fell over. I was looking at this the other day. There's if you look right here, it's almost like a tree trunk inside of a tree trunk. Now, is that the heartwood, or did it previously break and another tree growing around the outside of it? I don't know. This is another interesting thing I noticed while I was here. Check out those icicles. not your classic icicle, right? They look kind of brown. So what kind of fluid is coming out of this black oak tree? You know, what's the chemical composition of that? Is that full of tannins? Oh my gosh. I've always said if you want to get a close look at things, you got to get closer. If you take a look here at the ground, we've got little pieces of pine cone, aka midden, which is evidence that something was eating here. Probably that, maybe even that exact same squirrel that was here before. We can see acorns down here. We've got a cone. What else can we find here in the great out of doors? And thanks for tuning in, Maddie. Yes, nature is awesome, we like to say when we see evidence of animals or other interesting things. I thought this was kind of cool right here. We got this pine, I think it's a Coulter pine, not 100% sure on that. You can see that gash there. A lot of students will look at that and think, ah, bears have been climbing that tree. And you know, that might be true, but in this case, we've got this broken oak that fell and is laying right at the base of that tree. So that tells me probably it was left by the tree falling over. Maybe there was a windstorm that came through here and knocked these things over. And so, you know, moving on into questions. Being a scientist is a state of mind. Why did this tree fall over and other trees around here not fall over? It's interesting stuff here. That was kind of all the stuff that I cherry-picked before I hit the live feed. But we'll cruise on down the trail. I think Sarah Hill said, walk on down the trail. So here I am, I'm going. You know, one thing I think is pretty cool is we talk about adaptations that different living things have in order to survive in their environment. And one of the challenges of survival in this wintry environment is snow load, or the weight that snow puts on objects like this. What are we coming up on? Oh, I know from experience, this has got scaly leaves. We got an incense cedar. You can see the branches drooping down. So it looks like an adaptation that this tree has is the angle of the branches and the flexibility of the branches. And maybe, speaking of that black oak, I know that oaks don't have that adaptation, so maybe a previous snow load is what made that thing fall down. You can see a lot of other plants drooping under snow load out here like this deer brush. Oh man, so many pals tuning in. What's up, Sana? What's up, Justin? Hey, Damon. For my local friends, I'm not in Arrow Bear right now. I'm near my friend's house in Lake Arrowhead. Just discovered this sweet set of trails for walking and running the other day. Yeah, we'll stay on for a couple more minutes, see what else we can find, and then I'm gonna resume my run. Gotta stay fit. Oh, hey, I'm glad that I didn't shut it off too soon, folks. I don't know if you're seeing what I'm seeing. Oh, nice. So we got this white fir. It's broken, right? And it's full of these big holes. Anyone want to chime in on what made those holes? I love how I've got all my naturalistic friends watching this right now. Who's going to chime in the comments? You know, oftentimes we look at things as being either good or bad, right? Rather than them just being. Perfect example, we got the case of this white fir, and some of us might be inclined to think, oh, that's so sad this white fir, you know, got blown over or struck by lightning or whatever. But in the process of getting blown over, the white fir is no longer actively adding cells and really not as much of a living thing. And I think it probably makes it easier for Sarah Hill got it, winter, winter, chicken dinner, woodpeckers to make holes. So one thing's loss is another thing's gain. We'll walk just a little bit further because I'm having so much fun. and I hope you are too. By the way, if you just tuned in, I'm officially broadcasting this. Ooh, you know what? I just realized this is on my Facebook feed and not Ecos Institute's. That's where I meant to post this, but that's okay. When I get home, I'll just swap it over there. It's been interesting kind of playing with the Facebook algorithm a little bit. I thought, you know what? A live feed is probably going to get a little bit more juice in the algorithm than a posted video. So I guess I don't quite win out this time. But I'll post it to Ecos. If you're down with Ecos, you'll see it there too. This is kind of interesting. We got, I'm going to guess this is a white fir. And check out these bark beetle etchings. You've got one that's kind of all haphazard, and some other that are like cribbing or going around the tree. So at Ecos, one of our activities we do sometimes is bark beetle tracking. And by looking at the patterns left by bark beetles, we can determine what activity they were up to. And in this case, I don't know what it is. I don't have my bark beetle tracking sheet in front of me. I suspect that maybe it's more than one species of beetle that was inhabiting this tree. Oh man, what's up, Barry? What's up, Dalton? Well, I'm about to sign off here. I should keep it moving so my feetsies don't get too cold. They definitely don't have trail runners for the snow. Anyway, it's great to see everyone out there. Yeah, just a reminder that, you know, just because we're trapped indoors or in our neighborhoods doesn't mean that we can't learn. I'll post a link in the video about where I learned about the gait or the movement of different animals, like I was talking about the galloping squirrel. But man, there's so many opportunities to learn. I was joking with my cousin who's like 12 or 13 that if he had to go home from school, if I had to go home from school when I was your age, there would be no school because there's no technology. But today, we can stay tuned in and we can learn, which is pretty cool. And with that, great to see everyone who got to tune into this, and hope you were entertained and you learned something, some quarantainment, if you will. And I'll catch you all on the flip side for more nature videos.